I'm Alexis.
And I'm Tiffany, and we're the hosts of Legit KidLit, a video series where we get to see into the secret and silly lives of authors and illustrators.
We love to celebrate and promote books, but most of all, we want to say hey to all you readers out there trying to find that right book for you. We hope that you can find some new reads after today.
Kate Fussner is a novelist, teacher, and accidental poet living in Massachusetts with her wife and dramatic dog. When not reading or writing, Kate can be found baking, spending time with her family, or singing her favorite musicals. Kate believes in the power of a good laugh and a good cry, and hopes her stories will provide readers with both. Her debut novel, The Song of Us, was very recently published by HarperCollins' Catherine Tagan Books.
Hi everyone, I'm Kate Fussner and I'm the author of The Song of Us, a queer middle grade novel in verse out now with HarperCollins, and I'm so happy to be here.
Rajni LaRocca, author of Newbery Honor-winning Red, White, and Whole, and several other books, stated, a tender book about first crushes, peer pressure, and parental problems in middle school. Written in glorious verse, The Song of Us is an ode to love, love that defies expectations, overcomes disappointment, and transcends grief, love that springs in our hearts like song. Wow. And with that beautiful intro, can you describe your book, The Song of Us, in 5 words?
If I had to describe The Song of Us using only 5 words, I would say it is queer, lyrical, mythical, first love.
What would you say is the age range for your book, and do you have any content warnings? For viewers who may be unfamiliar, content warnings are warnings in the beginning of a book mentioning some tough topics that might be triggering for others, so it's important to keep your mind healthy, and so reading content warnings can tell you if the book will be good for you at that moment.
The Song of Us is for young people ages 10 and up, and some content warnings so that folks can take care of themselves include homophobia, parental neglect, and mental health.
Tell us why you are considered an accidental poet.
I consider myself an accidental poet because I never set out to be a poet. I always thought that poetry was something very abstract and confusing. I would read poems in school and I had a hard time connecting with them because I didn't really understand what poets were trying to do. But when I discovered that poetry for me meant getting a chance to play with language and play with the feelings that poetry can evoke, suddenly the world opened up to me and I realized, oh, maybe actually I am a poet. Maybe I had just thought about poetry in a different way than other people. So that's why I consider myself an accidental poet. I never intended to be a poet, but here I am.
Who is someone in the writing world that you admire?
There are so many writers out there that I admire. It's hard to even begin to just name one. But for today, I will say I really admire Ashley Herring Blake. I find that her middle grade works are so beautiful. And Ivy Aberdeen's Letter to the World in particular really moved me, even as an adult, thinking about what does it mean to come into yourself, especially in the midst of such hard times.
Name a middle grade novel that made you both laugh and cry.
A middle grade novel that made me both laugh and cry was Ivelisse Explains It All by Andrea Beatriz Arango. It's a beautiful story about grief and anxiety and coming into yourself, but it also had moments of real joy and laughter, and I thought it was a beautiful book.
How is your dog dramatic?
I have a very dramatic dog named Weasley, and we call her our dramatic dog because she always has a face for everything. If she's disappointed, if she wants to go outside, she will let you know with just the expression of, please pay attention to me. Please, I need this now. Please, you've never given me anything in my whole life, which is simply not true. She is spoiled beyond belief, and she always has this look on her face like, but there should be more for me. I am your dog.
If you had a theme song that played every time you walked into a room, what song would it be and why?
If I could choose any theme song for when I enter the room, I would want it to be I Want to Dance with Somebody by Whitney Houston, because every time that song comes on, I just have to stop what I'm doing and dance. And what a great way to enter any room that I come into.
What is something on your website that you would like for people to check out?
I have a whole bunch of resources on my website. I would love for folks to check out my list of novels in verse that you should consider reading if you're interested in trying to write your own. I've been inspired by so many authors who've tried out novels in verse, and I hope that others will take a moment to look at the list and maybe get inspired in their own reading lives.
Finish this sentence. People that enjoyed will also enjoy my novel in verse, The Song of Us.
People that enjoyed Jasmine Warga's Other Words for Home will enjoy The Song of Us.
If you could go back and give 7th grade you some advice, what would it be?
If I'm being entirely honest, 7th grade me needed a lot of advice and needed a really big hug. And I think if I could go back and tell that 7th grade version of myself something, I would probably tell her, it's okay to have big feelings. It's okay to feel like you are making things up as you go along, because as it turns out, when you get older, you will still be making things up as you go along. And that's normal. That's okay. You don't have to have all the answers yet about who you are or who you're becoming. You get to take the time that you need to figure that out in your own way. The last thing I'd like to do is walk you through a quick set of exercises that I like to do when I get stuck. So when I'm working on poetry, one of the things that I like to do is make a bunch of lists beforehand, because it helps me think about what I might be trying to say in my poems. Poems always have a heart, and you can change the body of a poem, you can change the format of a poem, you can change the way the poem sounds, but at its core, it's always going to have the same heart. And I like to make lists to figure out, well, what is the heart that I'm trying to get at in my poem? And then I try to let myself play. So we're going to do a few quick list exercises to get you thinking about a poem and then give the poem a try. So when I make lists, I like to give myself a timer. I'm going to list off a few things that I'd like you to list, and you can pause the video to make those lists. So first, take a minute. We're gonna write a poem about home in a minute. But before we get to the poem, I'd like you to just take 1 minute and make a list of objects in your home. Then I would like you to make a list of sights and smells in your home. Then I'd like you to make a list of things that can never leave your home. Then I'd like you to make one more list of what's missing in your home. And as one bonus one, what are things people say in your home? So you should take about a minute to generate each one of those lists. So in the end, maybe 5 or 6 minutes of making lists. And then I'd like you to write a poem, and the only thing that has to be in your poem is I want you to repeat this phrase, but in my home, and see what you come up with. What happens when you create a poem about home and the only thing you have to say is, but in my home? Give it a try. I hope to see some great poems out there. Thank you all so much for having me. If you'd like to learn more about my work or catch up with me, you can find me at katefussner.com. Thank you again.
Thank you so much, Kate. I am so excited for this book to be out in the world, and I'm excited for you to be out here, and thank you for all that you do and all that you've written about, and best of luck on your debut journey.